Juan, thank you for joining me today. And I know that you are from Spain, and people may recognize your name but never seen you. And thank you for the posts that you put up on Living Stones. They are a real blessing to read. Now, Juan, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm originally Spanish, but I'm from the Balearic Islands, so I'm from the place where all the English people go for holidays. I'm originally from Minorca, and 38 years ago, I met a lady that she decided to bring me back as a souvenir. And,
Lovely.
the intention was we were going to be here for 3 months, and that is 38 years ago. Three children and three grandchildren after, and we're still here.
That's
So
lovely. And I
yeah,
know I know that you love the Lord Jesus. So can
yeah.
you tell us, one, your testimony, how you become a Christian?
Okay, so I was originally brought up as a Roman Catholic, as probably most people of my age were brought up back in Menorca. Um, and about the age of 13, 14, 15, I began to suffer from a medical condition, which basically I was falling asleep uncontrollably. And the doctors really didn't have any idea of what was wrong with me. They were trying with me medications because they had no idea what was wrong with me. As a consequences of that, my mom and dad and my uncles and my aunties trying to find a solution or trying to find out what was that was wrong with me. They got me involved with all kinds of things. One of the things they got me involved in was in the occult. They brought me to people that read your palms and all this stuff, and I got quite hooked up in that. I went really strong on that because I was searching. I was trying to find an answer, trying to find a way through, and then I began to have really ugly experiences. Uh, and one day, a doctor friend of mine, it's a long story, but one day a friend of mine who was an evangelical Christian or was a Christian of a small evangelical church back in Menorca, who is a doctor, he gave me a book and he said, read this book. And that book was based on the film The Exorcism or Exorcist that was done at that time. They've done a few more since then, but at that time was the first one. And it was taken from a Christian perspective, and at the end there was a prayer, and so I did that. I went through that book and I did the prayer, and things began to change a little bit. And I was also a professional football player. And at that time, the church had decided to take part in the youth group of the church decided to take part in a football tournament, and they were looking for sponsors. So I had a company, and we decided, well, that's a little bit later on, and we decided to sponsor them, and I started to play with them. And then Saturday nights started after the football matches. We used to go out to a bar, a restaurant, have something to eat together. There was all this group of young people that would come and used to come and watch us play football, and that's how I basically got involved in the church. And then one day I came to the decision, I made a commitment to Jesus, and all hell broke loose, literally. So my mom and dad kicked me out of my house. They didn't want to know me. Yeah, all kinds of things went on at the time. But you know, through it all, I will not change anything really. I still have a very strong faith, moving with God. Um, and try to help as many people as I can, find the faith in Jesus in the world in which we live, desperate world. And that's a little bit about me, really. Then we came, then eventually I met today my wife at the church. And it's a long story again, but so she always had wanted to get rid of the fear of horses. So I had horses. And one day I just went to the stables where I had learned to ride horses, and where I had bought my horses from after a long time of not being there. And there she was on a horse. So I've met her the Sunday before in the church. We very briefly said hello, how are you? And we went our separate ways. And then I went to the stables on Tuesday, next Tuesday, and there she was. And we became friends ever since. And we've never, we normally say we never spent a day apart from each other, apart when I go on mission trips or whatever. But, we've been together ever since. And she brought me back to England as a souvenir with the idea of being here for 3 months. But then things began to happen. So I had applied to join the doulos, the old doulos of operational mobilization, and I have been accepted, but I had to wait for the doulos to come to Barcelona so that I could jump on the boat and then go around the world and be an evangelist with the boat. But I came to England, and then when I was here, I managed to get a place in a Bible college when I went to the Ealing Bible College. So I spent 2 years at Bible College, 88, so it was that 89, 1991 when I graduated. Then I entered the ministry in Bath. Then I met a gentleman called Paul Poulton, and then we we stayed in England, entered the ministry, left the ministry, and here we are.
That's lovely. That really is one. And Paul speaks very highly of you, I have to say.
Thank you both.
I'd like to ask you, when you were on the Logos boat, what was that really like? Can you give us a flavor of that?
I actually never went into the doulos boat.
Okay,
So I had been accepted to go to doulos boat, but I needed to wait for the boat to come
I
where I
see.
could jump on it. Because if I will have to pay fares and travels to go whatever the boat was. So I actually never made it to the doulos boat. So I came to England, and instead of going to the doulos, I entered the Ealing Bible College.
Brilliant. That's wonderful. And you were there for 2 years, you say?
Yes, I was there
Yeah.
for 2 years. Yeah, made loads of friends, learned a lot of things.
Yeah. And you become a minister
I
after
joined the Ealing
college?
ministry at the time, yes, and I went as a probationer back to the church where I went from.
Yes.
So I went, well, after a while, I moved in the Ealing Pentecostal Church in Bath, in Charlotte Street, with a man called David Townsend, where I became the youth leader, and we developed a ministry of young people, and that grew, and people were coming to the Lord. And he said to me, he says, "Why don't you try the ministry in going to the Bible college?" And that is how I applied to the Bible college. And first they said no. And they said, because your English is not good enough.
Sounding good now.
So I just, carry on practicing English, learning English. And then I reapplied, and they say, okay, yeah, that's fine. You come along. So we went up there with a 6 months old baby. And we just joined the ministry. And then I went back to Bath, where I became an assistant. And then when I was running the ministry, been involved in the ministry in the church in Bath. I had a leaflet with this young man that is starting his ministry singing, Paul. And I invited him to come over for a concert. And that
Lovely.
is how we met, Paul and I, basically. So,
Yes, he told me how you both met when he went over to sing at your church there. Tuan, I'd like to go back. You mentioned the occult
right.
before you become a Christian. What would you say to people who dabble in things that are not good, like the occult? What would you say to them?
Uh, Mainly, the occult promises things when you start, because what attracts people is experience. So people that are involved in the occult, normally they get experience. Something happens that you were thinking about it or wanted to happen, or you read your horoscopes or your horoscopes, and you see something and something happened, or you have and you relate that experience to that, and therefore in your mind you think that is good and that is real. So therefore you want to know more. You get involved in it deeper and deeper. The reality of the issue is that while it may be true, while it may be real, that the truth of the experience of that is that it basically is after your soul, basically is after your mind. That is what the occult does. Wants to get control of your mind and ultimately take control of your soul. And they'll do that by feeding what you want to find. And the best thing to do that is just to renounce it, to reject it, and to say you want nothing to do with that, and just get out of it. To be honest with you, because while superficially it will satisfy you, ultimately it will destroy you.
Yes, a dangerous game.
It is a dangerous game, yeah, and it's a little bit like drugs. The more that you get involved in it, the more that you get. The more that you experience, the more that you play with it, the deeper that you get, the more satisfaction you get, and the more facts that proves you to be right. What you're doing is right or is true, but ultimately is not for you. It will work against you.
Yes. And I think it's wonderful to see the transformation in your life from then to now and how the Lord has been using you. So, Juan, can I say thank you so much for speaking to me today and sharing your story, how you come to know the Lord Jesus Christ. And it's been a fascinating journey for you. And thank you for the lovely writings that you put up on Living Stones. Please keep putting them up. You're a blessing. Thank you, Juan.
Thank you very much. Thank
God bless
you.
you.
Thank you for having me.